In today's video, I'm going to answer one of my most frequently asked questions, and that is, what is the power setting of that light? Ever since I started sharing my work online and behind-the-scenes photos, photographers have asked me what the modifiers are, what light units I'm using, and what the power settings are of each one in the scene. And this question has always confused me just a little bit, because even if you have the same modifier and the same light and you have that light set to the same exact power, you're missing something. And that is the distance between the subject and the light. Let me give you an example. Let's say, or we don't have to say, I can just tell you. Let's say that we have this modifier back here, which is an Elinchrom indirect 190 centimeter or 75 inch octabox. And in there is an ELC 500 set to power setting 6.3. And then if I tell you that back there in the back is a small strip box that's a 35 centimeter to 90 centimeter or 14 inch by 36 inch or something like that softbox, and in there is another Elinchrom ELC 500 at power setting 2.3. Well, if you're a ProPhoto or a Godox user or some other brand of lights, you don't know what that 2.3 or 6.3 number means. Also, if I show you a diagram from the top down, and I also show you a behind-the-scenes photo from the same perspective as the camera that's recording me now, you won't exactly be able to tell what the tilt is of the modifiers. You won't exactly be able to tell what the feathering is from side to side, let's say, of that octabox. And you won't be able to tell the distance from that modifier to the subject. And that can be because I may be showing you a model who's 6'4", like myself. That's about 1.92 meters. Or you might be looking at a model who is 5'10". And well, I'm going to have to put on the screen what that is in meters, because unfortunately I don't know that exact number, but I think it's about 15 centimeters difference. Now, you could approximate it, but let's say that you estimated that that octabox is about 3 feet from the subject. What if it's actually 5 feet? Well, now your photo is going to be way too bright because you've got the light way too close. So if that's what we're talking about, and you're looking at a behind-the-scenes photo with a tall model or a short model, you're not going to be able to tell the distance from the model to the background, or the hair light to the top of the model's head, or the middle of the octabox to the middle of the face. Like, how does this line up? That's going to be a question you're not going to be so sure about. So the real crucial information you need is missing. Now, admittedly, when I was starting out making notes about all the lighting settings I was using for each setup, and that's something I started doing because of a video that I saw on YouTube, I would write down the power setting of the light. At the time I was using ProPhoto's D1s, and then I would write down the modifier and the approximate distance. And then later on in my career, I ended up picking up some Pro 6 and Pro 7 packs, which are 1200 or 2400 watt-second packs, but instead of having a digital readout, everything is done on there in fractions. So I would have in my notes, I would have a power setting from 4.0 to 10 for the D1s, and I would have a fraction to go with the Pro 6 packs. And my notes would be all over the board. And then when I got Elinchrom lights, their scale goes from 0.3 to 6.3 for 500 watt-seconds. It actually goes up higher than that because they have some more powerful lights. But you can tell that 500 watt-seconds on the Elinchrom is 6.3 and ProPhoto is 10.0. Those two numbers don't match up. So this sort of became a real problem, and that's when I had to figure out how to convert those ProPhoto numbers over to watt-seconds, which wasn't very hard. It just involved a lot of math. And then on the back of the Elinchrom heads, they actually display the watt-seconds and the power setting. So setting those up became really easy. And through this process, I learned that what I really needed to know was what was the light meter reading of the light hitting the back of the person's head or the side of their face, or the fill hitting the side of their face. So for instance, right now I'm lit with 120 centimeter light mode of 120, and I'm getting fill from a V-flat. So what I really need to know in this setting is what is the exposure of the light motive hitting my face, and what is the exposure of the V-flat, or the light bouncing off the V-flat, hitting this side of my face. And then I also would need to know, I have a separation light back there, I'd need to know what the meter reading is of that light hitting the back of my head or the side of my head over here. And that's the information that I would need to recreate this shot. And me telling you that it's this modifier at this setting or this modifier at that setting doesn't really give you the crucial information that you need to know. And since you've hung with me this long in the video, I'm going to let you in on another secret. And that is that most of the time, my main light equals the exposure that I have my camera set to, and my accent lights, whether it be a kicker or a hair light or something else, are about 2 stops down. This is known as a 1:4 ratio. And since I know that most of the time I'm at this 1:4 ratio, I kind of know what the setting should be of each light without even knowing the power setting of the light. I don't need to write that down exactly, or I don't even need to write down the meter reading most of the time, because my brain is wired to know what a 1:4 ratio looks like. And when I look at sample images online, I can tell almost right away if that lighting ratio is 1:2 or 1:4 or 1:8, and I can just do this by experience. And if you go ahead and buy a light meter, which I really do suggest that you use, it'll become very clear to you what a 1:8 or 1:2 ratio looks like, and you can sort of figure out what your individual lighting style will be. For the longest time, I used the Sekonic 308B, probably for 20 years. I wore all the paint off of it. And then I ended up with a 478 DR-UL or something that talks directly to my Elinchrom lights. But it doesn't really matter which model you have. It just matters that you're able to collect and use this information. That way, the next time that you're online and you see one of those images that's all marked up with the modifier and the light and the power setting, we'll be able to share in sort of this inside joke, because you and I will both know that that crucial information that you need to recreate that image is missing. Anyway, I hope that made sense, and I hoped it helped. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave those below. And as always, stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon.